I have been protecting myself. I have been purposely holding myself back because I was afraid that I didn't have enough energy. If you hold yourself back because you don't think you're strong enough, well, that actually makes you feel weaker, and it becomes this self-reinforcing sort of prison. Why am I doing this live stream? Well, I've come to a new level of clarity in terms of what I'm trying to accomplish with this project as a whole, Universal Man as a whole. And I've kind of boiled it down to this. I'm trying to turn on a specific part of men's brains that I think has been going dormant, more and more so in the modern age. And this is the part of the brain that is, I would say, typically associated with combativeness, aggressiveness, assertiveness, and that sort of thing. But I don't just want to turn that on so that you can, go out and cause trouble for people. I don't want you to be just mindlessly combative or anything like that. It's just that I've come to realize that this part of your brain, like while yes, it's used for combat and fighting and that sort of things, it's also used for just living a productive, meaningful, powerful life. I think that our brain is very efficient, and it reuses circuitry for different sorts of activities. And if you don't learn how to consciously turn on and off those mental switches, then you're going to be living a life where only, a small percentage of you is turned on at any given time. And I want to help men in particular turn on more and more of their brain, more and more of their biology, so that they can reach their potential. So that's really what I'm trying to go at here. And this is there's a lot to this too, because it takes consistency. Like, you ever get that fired up feeling where you're just pumped and you want to just, go kick the door down to your dreams and goals and just just get stuff done? Well, that's that circuit that's turned on. And the problem is, like, when you turn it on, it's very flighty in the sense that it's very difficult to sustain that sort of sensation. And I think one of the big things that can help that is if you're constantly consuming inspiring material. And the problem I've kind of realized here in what I'm offering is that I'm far too inconsistent in what I put out, mostly because what I try to put out is just very mentally taxing for me to produce, and it prohibits me from just kind of the raw motivational sort of stuff, the stuff that would allow me to reach out with you and connect with you guys in a more frequent and sort of sustainable way. Like right now, I'm going to look at this chat and I see people in here and they're saying, awesome, awesome to see you live, and proud to meet me finally, following me since 2015. That's awesome. That's so cool. And I can harness that energy, because I think there's another circuit here that I'm really keyed in on, is the social circuit. When you have we're social beings. We can't get away from that. And we rely on some of that programming to, I think, reach our maximum potential. We need to have other people looking at us, and that makes our brain operate differently. That lets you access a different level of energy and motivation and focus. But I think, with all this stuff, all these pieces that I'm talking about turning on, there's also a lot of nuance to them, learning how to direct them, learn how to control them, because these same circuits that, when used for good, provide you with tremendous motivation and focus and power, when not trained well and misaligned, they lead to so many problems. They can lead to so many issues. So that's really what I'm trying to do here, is I'm trying to create a place where we can discuss this stuff all the time, regularly, get you guys pumped up, get me pumped up, get us focused, and learn how to work within our nature, work within our masculine biology and potential. The topics are huge. Like someone in here just asked how can you use your cortisol level as a benefit in your workouts. Yeah, that's one great example, like learning how to use that stress for something good and powerful and useful. And so these are all the things I want to talk about. That's my goal here. Light you guys on fire and keep you burning. And so I'm going to be trying to do these videos 3 times a week at this time. We'll see what happens. There's a lot of stuff I still don't know here. I don't know if that schedule is going to work in the long run. I hope so. I mean, I'm outside my comfort zone right now. I'm exploring right now. I'm pushing myself beyond what I know, so that hopefully I can inspire you guys to do the same. So a lot of this we're going to be kind of learning together. And what else do I want to talk about here? There was a few points I wanted to make in this video. Well, the first thing was telling you why, but then the other piece was like, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about like me and my energy, just because I got to be real with where I'm coming from with this kind of stuff. And I'm coming to terms rather painfully with the reality that I have not been living up to my potential. I realize now that there's like this third gear that I can kick into, and I've done it at multiple points in my life. When I first launched Sacred Sexuality Project, again when I launched NoFap Academy with Alexander, and then again when I launched Universal Man, I came back with it. And it was like these periods where I had crazy energy, crazy focus, crazy passion, but I would always fall off. And I would always feel like so depleted and deprived, and like I couldn't sustain and all this kind of stuff. And what I'm realizing now is that I didn't use all of my energy sources properly. I didn't use all my motivational sources properly. And because of that, I burnt myself out. And so what I'm seeing now is that like if you follow me on Instagram, you see this post that I put up this morning. It was a breakthrough I had with my coach. I've got a coach. We went through a coaching program together, and we coach each other. And what I saw was that I have been protecting myself. I have been purposely holding myself back because I was afraid that I didn't have enough energy, that I didn't have enough focus, that I didn't have enough motivation or power or something like that. And so I would hold myself back. And what I realized was that in holding myself back, I actually cut myself off from energy. I cut myself off from the stress energy of challenge. I cut myself off from like the having people's eyes on me more frequently. I cut myself off from accountability. I cut myself off from having goals that really pushed me and interested me and enticed me. So it's kind of like this weird circular paradox where if you hold yourself back because you don't think you're strong enough, well, that actually makes you feel weaker, and it becomes this self-reinforcing sort of prison. And it wasn't until I started really exploring this stuff around negative energy that you guys saw me kind of go off about in my last longer video, that I saw this and started to look at this. And as I've moved out of this, I started thinking about doing this live stream and really picking back up my social media presence and that sort of stuff. All of a sudden, like my energy was just like going through the roof. My focus was going up and up and up. And you can probably even hear it now in the way that I talk if you look at it compared to the way I show up in some of my videos where I'm just, much more flat, much more calm. And it wasn't, it's not bad, but it's just not the level of intensity that I know I want to be operating at and that I need to be operating at in order to achieve the goals that I have for myself. Here's my plan for me reaching this third gear. And when I describe this plan to you, maybe that'll give you some insight into what your third gear looks like. Okay. So for me, I'm a content creator. That's my role. My purpose in life is to put out content to help men evolve and grow and become really, I guess you could say, honorable patriarchs within their sphere. Like learn how to be competent and masters of their own lives, and then become this force of goodness that radiates through their life out into the world. That's my goal, is to produce content to try and make that happen in other men, or at least facilitate that to happen. And so I see this output as like a pyramid. And at the top of this pyramid are highly polished pieces of content. They're really kind of like things that are like experiential pieces of work that will take people through a transformation. So, for example, my porn recovery course that's out, I would, say that's almost at that level. I'm working on kind of the replacement to that, which I really think will be at that level. But these kinds of high shining achievements in content creation, they take an insane amount of effort, an insane amount of focus and time. And, at best, I'm going to produce a handful of them in my entire life. All right. And if I just hold myself back and wait until I can produce those things, then, you're never going to see me. And ultimately, that's going to seriously limit me. And as I move down this pyramid, you're going to see why. So like that stuff at the very top, those fully coordinated ideals and ideas, they are the result of this next layer down, which is kind of the main points. You know, it's like there's a lot of points that go into making something cohesive like a big program. And that's kind of what my videos have been. They're a place where I would explore ideas in depth, a very specific idea, and try and go very deep on it and flesh it out as much as I could. And I've learned a lot doing these things. Very often I just go into them with a very kind of vague idea, and then they grow and they expand and they become something really interesting and cool. But even those, they take quite a fair bit amount of energy. And it's difficult for me to do a lot of videos on that caliber. And I've tried putting out videos like that, but with less effort, I guess you could say. And the response just wasn't as good, and it didn't feel as good. It wasn't fun for me, you know, sitting down and like going through all the work of doing an outline and then editing it and uploading it and all that kind of stuff. Like, it just felt like a drag when it wasn't a concept I was really pumped about. And so that's where I've been kind of focusing on these top 2 layers of the pyramid, but I've been neglecting the bottom. And I think that's where a lot of the energy lies for me. And so that's where this live stream comes in. It's something that, all right, you got these polished things at the top that are coordinated ideas. Then you got the ideas themselves. And then down here, you got the conversations and the questions that form those higher things. And that's what I can do here. And I can just show up and I can do this with you guys with, you know, some basic prep work. You know, I don't want to show up here and have nothing to say, but if I do that, then I can show up way more frequently. You know, it's an entirely different thing to show up live and do something and knock it out versus, you know, spend a week working on a draft of an outline. And so that will allow me to connect with you guys, get hyped, and do that sort of thing. And so that's where these videos come in. And then finally, there's just like one more layer at the bottom, which I would say it's almost like the grunt work level. It's like where the rubber hits the road, rubber meets the road, as it were. And that's what I'm going to be trying to treat as my social media. So that I've decided like I've really struggled with social media in the past. I really kind of sucked at it. But I think after thinking about it a lot, there's a lot of value there, primarily for me as an accountability tool. It's a place where I can show up every single day and say, hey guys, this is what I've been working on. This is where I'm at. This is what I'm doing. And not only, you know, maybe it'll be cool to just like have you guys see a little behind the scenes stuff or whatever and connect with you in a less serious, more personal sort of way. It's going to hold me accountable when I have to show up every day and kind of treat you guys like my boss. Well, I mean, like, you're not my boss, I'm my boss. But if I look at you guys as sort of like this person that I'm serving, then in social media, I'll show up and I'll be like, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm working on. This is what I'm thinking about. And I'm going to be sharing that with you. I'm going to be getting feedback from you. And even if people don't respond, I mean, my social media presence it's minuscule. It's nothing, but it can grow. And just knowing that I'm talking to someone, that I'm showing up to work every single day for someone, it just fills me with passion. You know, when I get isolated and I'm just in my head thinking about these abstract concepts, I get cut off and I get flat. And you know, I fall back down into like a second gear of like, yeah, I'm motivated. Yeah, I've got goals, but I'm not all in. You know, I'm not 100%. And that's where I want to be. I want to be at 100% for you guys. But I'm going to be honest, it's for me. It's for me because I want to live better. I want to be on fire. And I know that the only way that I can help you get to this place is if I live it day in and day out. So that's my plan. You know, I want to be able to do these big polished pieces of content. I want to be able to focus on these like cool ideas like I've been doing. But I want to connect with you guys more. I want to talk with you on a regular basis. I want to share my stuff with you in social media and just have fun and love this life and love this process of growing and engage in it with all of you guys. So that's kind of my spiel.